Hello, everyone. This is another installment in the self-improvement series that we showcase as part of this channel and podcast. Excellence in all ways is a vital part of our whole approach to being the best man that you can be. You work on that personal excellence every day, and one of the several outcomes that flow from making that effort is increased confidence. That increased confidence is something you automatically will project in how you walk, how you talk, how you conduct yourself, and how you treat other people. As you do what you need to do to improve every day, little by little and step by step, you will see that will draw people to you. They'll feel your ever-increasing positive energy. People like having that kind of energy around them, including the ladies. They'll feel drawn toward you and want to be part of your world. Few exemplify this concept more than famous entertainer and former professional wrestler Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the subject of this episode. We'll take a thorough look at why he is such a great example right after a quick word from our sponsor, me. Hi everyone, welcome to the Gentleman's Guide to Flirting. I am David, the author of the book of the same name, Gentleman's Guide to Flirting, available on Amazon.com. I am also your host and the exalted leader of the Gentleman's Guide to Flirting empire. You will be able to find this content on YouTube or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Thank you for joining. Let's get started. Welcome back. In this episode, we explore all the best things about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, looking back over the course of his whole life. We do this to see what we can learn from his example relevant to our subject and involving personal conduct, relationships, family, and life. This guy certainly has had his share of ups and downs, literally almost rags to riches. Let's go back. He was a college football player with the University of Miami and was on the team that won the national championship in 1991. But he lost his starting spot with his college team to Warren Sapp. There's no shame in that. Warren Sapp went on to stardom in the NFL. But Dwayne Johnson went undrafted in the NFL draft and ended up going to the CFL, the Canadian Football League. He got released in his first year from his CFL team, and that ended his career as a football player. The CFL wasn't paying him a lot, and when he got cut, he famously only had $7 in his pocket and ended up moving back home with his dad. It was after his football ambitions came to that end that he decided to follow in his father's footsteps to become a professional wrestler. You see, Dwayne came from a famous professional wrestling background, with his dad being Rocky Johnson, and on his mother's side being the legendary multi-generational Maivia wrestling family from Samoa. Over the years as a pro wrestler, he developed his world-famous The Rock persona. From that platform, he went on to extraordinary success and stardom in movies and other entertainment, becoming one of the top money draws of all time. But his fame and money isn't why I think he is great and an example worthy of your attention. So why do I think he is worthy of inclusion in our self-improvement and personal excellence series? There's 5 main points. Number 1, have you ever heard anyone say anything negative about him, even before the wealth and fame? Can you name a controversy involving him? He did have some negative press a few years ago after comments he made on Instagram about a U.S. Army tank that was named after him. He called the tank badass and sexy AF and got criticism for allegedly glorifying violence. He also got some criticism for posing for an Instagram post with an alligator in Florida while holding its jaws shut. With all due respect to those who disagreed with him, I'd say the number of so-called controversies involving the man is basically close enough to zero to call it non-existent. And I think that is remarkable given how famous he is, how many people he has worked with over the years, and how much money he has. So I think he must be doing something right to not be leaving a trail of damage and destruction and hurt behind him, where people are complaining and criticizing him and writing books about his behavior. He's doing something right in how he is living. There is no way that is just good talent agency management and PR. That's a sign of living in a very high quality way. Second, the guy just exudes charm and charisma every time you see him. I encourage you to go on YouTube and search for Dwayne Johnson interviews. Watching those interviews is like taking a master class on how to talk like an interesting man and use body language to your best advantage. Look at how he constantly has a warm smile on his face. Listen to his tone. He is a large and otherwise possibly intimidating man, but his open and wide gestures and other body language says he is approachable, friendly, and very safe to be around. That type of body language is a perfect example of what I describe in the book. Whether you are interacting with women or men, so is that type of smile. He often smiles with what I call a whole face smile, which includes the eyes. Listen to his great sense of humor and how respectful he is of everyone and how he avoids speaking negatively about anyone. His positive energy is clearly evident every time, whether that is in an interview on television or a social media post. Now, the guy isn't afraid to speak his mind when he feels he should. He normally stays out of politics, but decided for the first time in his life to publicly endorse a candidate for the U.S. presidency in 2020. He used to be a Republican Party member, but is now an independent. But he expressed his backing for the Democratic Party's U.S. presidential candidate in 2020, so I think he is an independent thinker, someone who speaks up when he feels he should, even if it will cost him fans. And I think that's great and something we should all respect in one another, whether you agree with anyone's political views or not. I feel that those are all very polished, top-tier communication habits that you should study and emulate for use in your daily life and business. Third, look at how he treats people. He seems to treat everyone well, staff, co-workers, and colleagues, from very big names and stars just to ordinary working folks. Have you ever seen any of his co-workers, co-stars, employees, production crew ever complain about abuse or being mistreated at all? How many thousands of people has he worked with over the years, and there is zero complaining? This seems to hold true to his paid staff in his own household. A few years ago, I recall he bought a lady who helps take care of his small children a brand new vehicle. Now, he has been divorced once, but did you ever hear anything bad about that? In fact, he has a great business relationship with his former wife that we will touch on in a moment that continues on to the current day. The only thing that I could surface that someone might complain about is he does guard his time sometimes when interacting with his millions of fans. Check this video out. This video is from a show on BBC Channel 1 called Playground Insults.
Man, okay, here's a good impression of Dwayne Johnson, the people's hero, okay? Mr. Dwayne, could you sign my belt? He's like, wow, come on, man. he throws kids off with signals that take their mind off of what they asked for. Mr. Dwayne, can I get an automatic? Hey, how did you... Kids confused as to what happened.
There, comedian Kevin Hart, a close friend of Dwayne Johnson, mentions that Dwayne uses tricks to shorten his interaction time with fans, but he needs to. You know, the guy has to guard his time. There are only 24 hours in a day, and people want to interact with him for the entire 24 hours if they could. You might see him interact with a fan, but wrap up quickly to continue working on his daily business. The guy's a very, very busy guy, so I think that's totally understandable. And the reason why I bring this up about Dwayne Johnson is because I think there's a lesson in this for you too. You need to guard your own time. You can't let other people in your life consume all your time, because otherwise how are you going to progress on your goals and work towards what you need to do every day to go and stack those wins that you need to stack to make progress in life and be the man that you need to be that incredible asset to everyone that you care about around you. Number 4. Dwayne Johnson uses his money to benefit others, not just himself. Look at the XFL co-ownership and involvement that he recently announced. That gives football players an opportunity that they may not otherwise have. One of his ownership partners in the XFL is his former wife, Dany Garcia, D-A-N-Y Garcia, who is an amazing business person in her own right. Speaking of his ex-wife, in 2007, he and Dany Garcia donated $1 million to the University of Miami to support the renovation of their football facilities. The University of Miami renamed that locker room in honor of Dwayne Johnson. Now remember, that's the team that gave his starting position back when he was attending the school to Warren Sapp. So apparently Dwayne Johnson doesn't hold grudges. Let's take a look at a little bit more of his charitable background. In 2006, he started the Dwayne Johnson Rock Foundation. That's a charity that works with at-risk and terminally ill children. Dwayne Johnson has repeatedly partnered with the Make-A-Wish Foundation to make a number of young people in dire circumstances happy. In 2015, he donated $1,500 to a GoFundMe to help pay for an injured dog's surgery. And that's not because he knew the dog or the family or anything. He just happened to notice a random member of the public tweet at him on Twitter. He saw the notice and he donated $1,500. That's a guy that's got a big heart there. In 2018, he donated an entire gymnasium to a military base in Hawaii. And the examples just go on and on. Number 5, and finally, and I think most importantly, Dwayne Johnson has an unbelievable work ethic that I think we can all learn from. Listen to the interaction between Dwayne Johnson and his close friend, comedian Kevin Hart, from that same BBC One TV channel Playground Insults program.
Of course, all jokes aside, man, look, there's nothing but respect and admiration that goes for this guy, man. I would love to call him a dickhead for the rest of this interview, but I love the jackass.
But I love the dick too. I gotta agree with you. We're very similar in so many ways. We share a lot of the same values: hard work and discipline and drive, and having a great time, loving making people laugh. I'd love to sit and call him a real piece of shit for the whole time, but I can't.
Values, hard work, discipline, drive. Values, hard work, discipline, and drive. That says it all right there. That's what the guy lives by. That's his mindset. That's what he says he used to go from having $7 in his pocket after he got cut from his Canadian football team to being the role model and great family man and person that he is today. Again, I encourage you to invest time in listening to him speak to see what you might like to incorporate into your own process, into your own life. All right, that is all I have for now. Talk to you next week. Take care now.